And is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Hi, Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Today's Monday, August 2nd, 2021. 215 days into the new year, only 150 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. A total undisclosed location, but it is beautiful. Yeah, man. Hanging out in the bunker today. Just incredible. Playing guitars. Yeah. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? I hope you had a great weekend. I did. Got a lot done. I did. I got a lot done. And I'm really looking forward to Fade to Black this week. What a great lineup. Tonight, Whitley Strieber joins us, and I'm calling this show tonight a conversation about E.T. That's what we're going to do tonight with Whitley. We're gonna go into uncharted waters tonight. Yeah, excited about this. Tomorrow night, right here on this very program, first time you've been waiting for this. Mark Sims is here. Mark Sims, and we are going to tomorrow night. I know a lot of you know about Mark's background, but he comes from the world of the internet and software. Today, he's firmly planted in the world of ufology and this community and spirituality. But how did he get here, and how has social media been influencing the UFO conversation? We're going to be doing all of that tomorrow night with the one and only Mark Sims. That is tomorrow. And Wednesday night, I cannot wait for this too as well. What a great week on the show. Peter Robbins. Peter Robbins is back, and what a journey. What a life's journey, a hero's journey, that of Peter Robbins. And I've been talking to him this week. Very excited about this. And so there you go. I'm just going to... He's Fade to Black's author at large. Yeah. Peter Robbins. And so there you go. That'll be Wednesday night. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Now, I just posted this up in Twitter, and I want all of you to go. I'll have some more information out there, especially tomorrow night with Mark Sims. But there is an online conference coming up, and it is called, it's makingcontact.com. Extraterrestrials are here. We are making contact. It is this August 18th through the 22nd. And the speakers, this is just insane what Mark Sims has got put together. Now, my picture isn't up here, and I know Mark is listening right now. So by tomorrow night, the internet genius that Mark Sims is, my picture will be up on this website. But it's myself, it's Whitley Strieber, it's Christopher Mellon, Linda Moulton Howe, Mark Sims, Danny Sheehan, Lou Elizondo, and Eric Bleepin Weinstein, all in the same conference, and it's coming up. So what Mark has put together for all of you is a special promo code, and that promo code is Jimmy Save 100. That's it, Jimmy Save 100. You will get $100 off of the $249 ticket price for this. $100 off. And that lineup is incredible. And so I've got it up in social media. I've got it up in Twitter. And I'll hit the rest of my social media with this in the next 24 hours. Mark Sims is going to be on with us tomorrow night. Okay, so I've got it up there in Twitter. Head over, Jimmy Save 100. And there you go. Okay, thank you for that, Mark Sims. You are the very best. Let's get the show rolling along. Whitley Strieber will be with us at the bottom of the hour. Man, I just made a fresh cup of coffee. Fresh pot. Oh, man. River Moon Coffee. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. The Sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. You can jump over in any conversation that you want. We've got it hashtag F2B on Twitter. We've got the YouTube chat room is wide open. Spreaker's open. KGRA's open. Facebook is open. Hello to everybody all around the world. Okay. You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. I'm going to get straight to the breaking news. Archaeologists in Morocco have announced the discovery of North Africa's oldest Stone Age hand axe manufacturing site, dating back, check this, 1.3 million years. All of this by an international team, and it was reported last week. The find pushes back hundreds of thousands of years, the start date in North Africa for the stone tool industry associated with the key human ancestor Homo erectus. Researchers on the team told journalists in Rabat. It was made during excavations at a quarry on the outskirts of the country's economic capital, Casablanca. Before the find, the presence in Morocco of the stone tool industry was thought to date back 700,000 years. Incredible. 600,000 years before. Incredible. Now, this is this is about the craziest news I've ever reported on this show. And it's about chipmunks. Are you ready? Chipmunks in the South Lake Tahoe area have now tested positive for the plague, prompting officials to close several spots in the vicinity. Officials announced this week that Kiva Beach and the Taylor Creek Visitor Center in South Lake Tahoe will be closed through Friday, August 6th, following the positive plague tests. The infected chipmunks had no known contact with people yet. The bacterium that causes the plague, Yersinia pestis, is naturally present in some parts of California, including the El Dorado County where South Lake Tahoe is located. Local and state officials will survey more rodents this week to assess the risk of plague to the public. Holy crap. I mean, really? Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. One of my favorites. Director. Hey, how did you know this, Triscale? That's a great meme. And today it is Director Kevin Smith's birthday. Today he is 51. Well played, Triscale. That's a coincidence. Edward Furlong today is 44. Of course, Edward played John Connor in Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Frontman, one of my favorites, Joe Lynn Turner. Today, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Joe Lynn Turner today is 70. Rainbow, Yngwie Malmsteen, Peter Takrin. Oh, did I slip that out? Sorry about that, Peter. Guitarist Les Dudek today is 69. And Les Dudek and I go way back. I remember reading about Les, read an interview in Guitar Player magazine. Had to have been 1978. And he's got a new album coming out. It's called Ghost Town Parade. And I ordered that album, and it was delivered to, man, I think I ordered it from like the PX, the Post Exchange on Fort Clayton. And I got the album, and I became a fan of Les Dudek from that very moment. Today, he is 69 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is, I need a moment of silence, please. It's funny. The YouTube feed plays on the PC, but not on the app in Roku. I have no idea. Okay, Wes Craven is our dead guy's birthday today. 1939 to 2015, died at the age of 76. Wes created and or directed some of the greatest horror films of all time, including A Nightmare on Elm Street, the entire franchise. The first 4 Scream films. The Last House on the Left, the original one from 1972 that I was talking about last week. The Hills Have Eyes, the original one from 1977. How about The People Under the Stairs? Yeah, that was kind of funny, actually. Red Eye, Swamp Thing, The Serpent and the Rainbow, which I saw at the Fort Amador movie theater for 50 cents. Shocker. And Vampire in Brooklyn. Wes died of a brain tumor at his home in Los Angeles on August 30th, 2015, 4 weeks after his 76th birthday. There you go. On this day in history, 1990, at about 2 a.m. local time, Iraqi forces led by Saddam Hussein invade Kuwait, Iraq's tiny oil-rich neighbor. And by doing that overnight, Iraq took control of like over 20% of the world's oil reserves. Didn't last too long. Fate or fact. In 1996, Alan Sokal, a physicist, submitted a paper of word salad and gibberish to a journal, and it actually passed peer review and was published. This is known as the Sokal Affair. And more on that in just a minute. That's right. Tonight, Whitley Strieber joins us for a conversation about E.T. Tomorrow night, Mark Sims is here for the first time. It's UFOs and social media. Wednesday night, Peter Robbins is back. And Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right, Rivermoon. RivermoonWellness.com. Fade to Black blend. The Game Changer blend. Go and visit all of the banners that we have over at jimmychurchradio.com. And you can head over to the Amazon Marketplace. Go to our Amazon store. It's right there. Rivermoon Wellness, our Black Moon products, all of that. It's the very best. It is indeed the very best. Now, let me change gears a little bit. I was just talking about Alan Sokal. And you need to, this is a pretty cool rabbit hole, but I'm going to give you most of it right now. And I just want you to listen to me for a second. Just want you to listen. Because the physicist Alan Sokal submitted this spoof article. It was titled, quote, Transgressing the Boundaries Towards Transformative Hermeneutics of Quantum Gravity to Social Text. End quote. That was the title. And as crazy as all of this sounds, I'm sure you are wondering about the actual text of the article, right? Gibberish, word salad, nothingness. So surprise, surprise. I actually have some of it right here, seriously. And Sokol himself tried to convince everyone that it was a parody, which did and didn't work. Now, check this out. Remember, this was peer-reviewed and published. Quote, there are many natural scientists, and especially physicists, who continue to reject the notion that the disciplines concerned with social and cultural criticism can have anything to contribute, except perhaps peripherally, to their research. End quote. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is genius. It's genius. It means nothing. Here's another gem. Quote, this is lifted directly from the paper. Quote, still less are they receptive to the idea that the very foundations of their worldview must be revised or rebuilt in the light of such criticism. God, that is good. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. Means nothing. Here's another one. Just stay with me. Are you ready? Quote, rather, they cling to the dogma imposed by the long post-Enlightenment over the Western intellectual outlook, which can be summarized briefly as follows, that there exists an external world whose properties are independent of any individual human being and indeed of humanity as a whole, that these properties are encoded in eternal physical laws, and that human beings can obtain reliable, albeit imperfect and tentative, knowledge of these laws by hewing to the objective procedures and strictures prescribed by the so-called scientific method. End quote. Oh, man. It's so good. Now, a lot happened because of this. Remember, this was peer-reviewed, and this physicist was upset, and he just wanted to see what would happen if he very cleverly wrote using scientific jargon and just words and just things and put it all together, made sure that it meant absolutely nothing. I want to see if it could get published. And then what would happen if it did? Now, here is a full paragraph of the gibberish. You got to enjoy this from top to bottom. Just listen to this. I can't even say some of these words. Quote, feminist and post-structuralist critiques have demystified the substantive content of mainstream Western scientific practice, revealing the ideology of domination concealed behind the facade of objectivity. It has thus become increasingly apparent that physical reality, no less than social reality, is at bottom a social and linguistic construct, that scientific knowledge, far from being objective, reflects and encodes the dominant ideologies and power relations of the culture that produced it, that the truth claims of science are inherently theory-laden and self-referential, and consequently, that the discourse of the scientific community, for all its undeniable value, cannot assert a privileged status with respect to counter-narratives emanating from the dissident or marginalized communities. End quote. It's just brilliant. Now, why am I going on about Adam Sokol? What's the big deal here? You know, his views were gibberish. They literally meant nothing. The criticism and debate about it, though, were huge. huge. The attacks, the drama. You see, it doesn't matter what you say. There'll always be someone out there to take their shots. Now, what does all of this have to do with UFOs? Well, actually, it's quite simple. No matter who I have on as a guest, it doesn't matter. From any angle, I'll have my critics. It's just the way that it is. Now, you see, Sokol's paper caused big debate in scientific circles. Huge debate. Arguments. Over nothing. When he revealed that it was just parody, that wasn't good enough. People read what they wanted to read. And here's the deal. I can do the same thing on this broadcast. I could do a show that didn't say anything conclusive on the UFO subject. And in fact, I have said things in the past that were totally vanilla. And I did it on purpose. Just to watch someone lose their mind. That's right. And I have that ability to do so. Losing their minds over nothing. And in the end, I'm still here. Right? Those critics, forever lost to history. There's a really great comedy out there. It's a movie called Real Men, starring Jim Belushi and John Ritter. And it's about UFOs and ET contact. And I could repeat a quote from the film. I could do it. Something like, quote, E.T. has made an agreement with planet Earth. They will give us the secrets of the universe in exchange for a nice, cold, tall glass of water. Funny? Absolutely. It's the pure definition of parody. Deliberate exaggeration for comic effect. Right? In fact, I could do a whole show on this. I could. And sure, most of you would laugh. You would get it. But there will be the few out there who will debate this for a decade or two. No matter what I say, to defend the satire of it all. I'm actually in danger of doing it right now. Think about it. Seriously. I'm right there, man. I'm at the edge. There's somebody out there right now. Jimmy Church, man. This, oh my God. I get it. Oh, man. And this is the deal. I just don't care. You see, no matter what, in the end, I'll still be here doing my thing. Just like Adam Sokol. He didn't go away. He kept teaching physics. He kept doing his thing. And the attack, he literally had to write a paper on the ethics of the parody. And even that didn't work. People just took it serious. It's crazy. You see, no matter what, in the end, I'll still be here doing my thing, chasing the answers to all of life's questions. And the critics, well, you've already forgotten who they are. Yeah. Now, about that secret agreement with E.T. and that tall glass of water, right? It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And I look back today I was on Chris Matthews' show and Forbidden Knowledge, and he's great. And Chris, I get Chris. I've spoken about him before on the show, but over at UFO MegaCon, and Chris and I were in touch for a while before that. But watching Chris at UFO MegaCon, young, he's fresh. He's out there doing his thing, doing these interviews, and just every single day watching him run around. And it was just awesome. And Chris asked me a couple of questions today that got me to thinking. And it was this, and it reminded me of Adam Sokol and this paper, and I went and I pulled it up today and I read it, and it just got me to thinking. And his responses to it, in that I don't care what people think. It's a friggin' parody. It means nothing. And yet people will read what they want to read. They will hear what they want to hear. And then they want to attack me about something that was a parody. And that in of itself is a statement of society. And it was a great thought experiment. It was really, really well done. And I have thought over the years, I really have, about what if I did. Wait, before I'm out of time. I actually did this. What if I did a parody show? What if I did a parody show? Just a parody show, and then I admitted that it was satire. And I did that with the Area 51 caller. I did. Brian J.O. Glass. Brought him on the show, did the Area 51 caller, had him recreate it, and we did it, and everybody lost their friggin' minds and were so upset. And I literally, after having Brian on, he laid it out how he did the original Area 51 caller with Art Bell, how it happened, how it was an accident, and how everything, but nobody got it. And everything that he said, every soapbox that he jumped on and yelled about, to the skies, to the stars, nobody wanted to believe him. They wanted to believe that the call was real. It's incredible. And so my thought of doing a parody show, right? A War of the Worlds type broadcast. It would be so much fun to do. And it's this danger zone about going into that. And it is a thought experiment. It is a mind experiment. It's a social experiment. And I've decided not to do it. Even me mentioning this tonight puts me in the danger zone. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, the one and only Whitley Strieber. Tonight is the conversation about E.T. So you stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's right, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back after this short break with our guest, Whitley Strieber. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2B Blend for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at gettheti.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to gettheti.com. That's gettheti.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Gettheti.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's gettheti.com. Gettheti.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great week we have coming up on Fade to Black. Tonight, Whitley Strieber, of course, is here. And tomorrow night, Mark Sims is here. And I noticed that Mark has already been texting Whitley and I in his excitement tonight. Mark Sims is with us tomorrow night. And then Wednesday night, it is Peter Robbins. He is back. It's been a while since he's been on the show with us. So we've got a great week. And then, of course, Thursday night is Fader night with open lines all night long. But tonight it's Whitley. And Whitley's going to join us tonight for a very open and comprehensive conversation about E.T. And we are going to discuss what really may be going on. And I don't think anybody knows, but this is a conversation that can only be had with Whitley. So we're going to do that because Whitley has changed our worldview. He's one of the iconic cultural figures of our time. I've had the privilege to hang out with Whitley many times and break bread and just talk. We all know that he is the author of the Communion series of books and other novels like The Wolfen and the Hunger to the Greys and Alien Hunter series. But Communion and The Wolfen and the Hunger and Superstorm have all been made into movies. And Superstorm, of course, is known as The Day After Tomorrow. His websites are right there at jimmychurchradio.com, unknowncountry.com, and Strieber.com. And I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Whitley Strieber. Whitley, good evening, young man. How you doing?
Well, good evening. Good evening. How are you? It's good to see you, Jimmy.
You know what's strange, Whitley, and we've known each other for a long time, But 2021 is shaping up to be the year of Jimmy and Whitley hanging out.
Yeah, we're fairly good at that, both of us.
Yeah.
I like to hang out.
Yeah.
And I like to hang out with people who like to hang out and know how to do it. And you fill both of those bills.
And aside from all of that, we have 2 conferences coming up in front of us back to back. We have Mark Sims Making Contact, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, August 18th through the 21st. And then right after that, we have Conscious Life Expo, the mini version, at the LAX Hilton. So pretty exciting.
They're actually going to be in the Hilton physically. Mark's is in this fascinating virtual space called the Island, where it's got, you walk around, you have an avatar and you walk around, you go and sit. It's very cool. It'll be fascinating to be in that. I've enjoyed doing the Island when I have been on it on programs.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, and
Yes.
I will be letting everybody know how to go and hang out, how to create your avatar, and do all of that in advance of the conference. But it's you, it's Chris Mellon, it's Linda, Danny Sheehan, Lou Elizondo, and Eric Weinstein. Man, we've got Eric Weinstein on tap. How cool is that?
It's amazing. I was telling Mark Sims, I think this is one of the strongest ET-related, contact-related panels ever assembled, if not the strongest. It's an incredible panel.
Whew.
Because these are people with in-depth knowledge, and I'm, for goodness sakes, a physicist, a serious, very accomplished physicist and mathematician, a former member of the State Department, Lou Elizondo, and it's important to realize people have a tendency to think of Lou and Chris as being sort of the government, but they're not at all. That's exactly what they aren't. They are trying to extract this from the secret world. They're trying to pry it loose, basically. And they, because of the people they are and the lives they've lived, they have a pretty good lever, pretty good crowbar to pry with, which is unique. It's never happened before like this, not in the whole history of the UFO movement. And there have been many other times, not many, but 4 or 5 other major times when it seemed like something would open up. But right now, there's a confluence between disclosure and contact, and I find that very interesting. That's another first.
The website is makingcontact.com, and it's very simple to get to. I've got it up in social media, and I want everybody to just go and click and visit the site. And the promo code JimmySave100, you can go ahead and enter that too as well, and that is courtesy of Mark Sims. I want to thank Mark for that. But it's a great website, and all of the information that you need is right there. And then right after that is the Conscious Life Expo. And what is unique about this, and this isn't, some infomercial right now, it's that these 2 very important conferences are happening back to back, Making Contact and then the Conscious Life Expo, which it's 2 Conscious Life Expos going on at the same time. We have the United States and Los Angeles, and then right after that, it's switching over to the Conscious Life Expo over in London at the Hilton in London. And so you can do 2 things. One, in person, come and hang out with this, and of course, an in-person conference at the LAX Hilton. And we are occupying the 2nd floor of the Hilton. The big version of Conscious Life Expo, of course, is in February. But this version of it, Whitley and I and everybody, we will do our live presentations in person. But there's going to be a simulcast going on at the same time with the live stream for those that can't visit Los Angeles or London. And then the stream, Whitley, as you know, picks up immediately after we wrap here in Los Angeles and switches over to London. And it's like 16, 18 hours of streaming content from the UK and from the United States. It's just an extraordinary event.
Yeah, it is going to be. It is going to be an extraordinary event, and they're the two of them together are. Some of the, like in the Conscious Life Expo, some of the subjects, William Henry, the Soul Dilemma, the Future of Humanity, Dr. Greer, CE5 Contact, James Redfield, Inspiration. And this all means, and I'm talking on a very simple topic, what will happen to us? Because a lot is changing in this world, and not just in the world of ET contact, but just generally, a lot. And what's going to happen? I have some ideas. I can certainly outline them, but the main thing is, for both conferences, we need to get into perspective what this actually is. Like, we talk about ET contact, and that's all well and good. But let's back up a little bit. What is ET contact? What is it?
That's a great question and a really good place to start, because the obvious is the obvious, Whitley. People want it. They're asking for it. Disclosure, pushing and pushing and pushing. But do we really know what we're asking for? What is ET contact?
Well, that's we don't know. What's happened is this. Back in the 40s and then building into the early 50s, it became obvious very quickly after the Roswell incident, and possibly after the Trinity incident too. It's not clear what happened after the Trinity incident, but after Roswell, Art Exon was very clear. Everyone from Truman on down knew this was what we'd found was not of this world within 24 hours of our finding it. And that's a sort of fundamental bottom line right there. Now, not of this world doesn't say ET. It doesn't really say anything except what it says, except they weren't us, or apparently not us. And when I say apparently not us, there are a lot of things we don't understand about this universe. Among them, how is it woven together? Are there parallel universes? Like, I was up at a conference at Pine Ridge, the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation, just over the weekend before last, and this was where I had this experience of seeing into a parallel universe in 2019 that I wrote about in my book, A New World, and I outlined the science of why that actually might be there. And I saw into it again. I didn't see into it as clearly or as extensively, but in many ways what I saw was more important because I saw a town. But what is going on here? Are we looking at something that comes out of like the same space we live in, or from millions of light years away? Gosh, I mean, it's just so interesting. Right now, we're at the point of where we have the culture, the society is forming a kind of baseline. We're facing the fact that somebody's here. We have gotten to the point where we're willing to say, yeah, there are objects flying around our skies that we don't understand. I say flying, but they're not even flying. They're moving around in the skies in ways that we don't understand. We don't even understand how they move around in the skies. We don't know why they're in the air, because they're not aerodynamic. They don't use wings. So where we are is, we know this. We have a huge body evidentiary material in the form of all of this testimony. Now, where do we go from here? Because we can't make the leap to ET, not yet, because the universe is bigger, stranger, and more complicated than we realize, and it's simply too early to nail it down. I love to speculate about the other things that this could be, and there are a lot of them.
The eyes, I think, are the best evidence that we have. And what I mean by that, and I'm speaking very directly, is I have seen things. Others have seen things. But the stuff that I have seen, Whitley, nobody is going to change my reality. They can't tell me that it didn't happen. And when I see something that is extraordinary, that is outside of the ordinary, something that I'm comfortable with seeing and I can identify, like a helicopter or a kite, and I'm seeing something that doesn't fit anything, I know that there is something else going on. It doesn't mean that I understand what it is, but my truth is the same truth of millions of people. And we can't anymore go into the denial of I'm crazy, I'm seeing things, or other people are just seeing things. We now know that that's not the case.
I'm in exactly the same space. I think we all, many of us are. But what is in that space with us? That's what we can't be sure of. I've seen things that I would say had to be not of this world. I used to live by a sort of assumption that they might be extraterrestrials, but I'm not so sure now. I've seen too much, and it's been too weird. And I'm just very much up in the air about what this is. There are certain things, like if you go back to 1952, the July of 1952, the Capitol, the Washington overflights, they are clearly, that was, those objects were something very unusual. And yet, more happened at the same time. Frank Ficino, in his book about it, describes a whole sequence of events that involved Washington, but a lot of other places too. Down in West Virginia, there was some bizarre sightings of a gigantic device that looked like some kind of suit that something enormous was standing in, and it was moving around, known as the Flatwoods Monster, and it was 7 feet or something tall, and it was floating around, and it was really strange. And it was, you look at it and you think, I think it might be really disappointing to confront whatever might come out of that thing. But this event, this series of complex events with close encounters, UFO flyovers, and a lot of other stuff, suggests some kind of close encounter. Were they trying to make contact? Were they trying to get a situation together where they did land? No idea, but they didn't land. I mean, they came, they sort of looked around, they were here in large numbers. They were challenging us to react. And we did. We sent jets up. People called the sheriff down in West Virginia, and people reacted. But then it ended. So why was it like that? And why was it like that? Let's move forward to the Hudson Valley incidents in the early 80s that I became unwittingly tangled up in toward the end of the period that they were happening when I was taken aboard a UFO. And these things were flying over Dutchess County across the Hudson River from where I lived in Ulster County, low. I mean, practically so low you could practically reach up and touch them. And they were huge triangular objects, longer than football fields, traveling slowly overhead in full view of hundreds of people for night after night, month after month. And that happened. Now we know that these people, there were so many efforts back in those days that they said they were planes flying in formation, small planes flying in formation at night. They bent over backwards to debunk this with claims that were much more fragile than the claims being made by the many witnesses who were seeing this. They were seeing something very, very unusual. But you know, the weirdest part of it, they would see these objects with red, green, and white lights on them. Now, superficially, that seems, well, that maybe that's their running lights or something. But it happens that those three colors are also associated with the fairy lore. The fairy lore folk, red cap, green, red cap, green vest, white owl's feather. Red, white, and green. So what does it mean? And as Jacques Vallée points out, the UFOs are as interested in pure water as the fairy folk were. So what we have to do is very carefully unpack this gift from the unknown on a whole lot of different levels, scientifically, personally, culturally, and socially. And I think that these conferences, the Mark Sims conference, is really, these conferences are a serious escalation of the human effort to understand. I think we're going to make some real progress, and these amazing panels that Mark has pulled together. You don't see Danny Sheehan, Linda Howe, Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon all together at the same time, much less with me in there to stir the pot. It's going to be very interesting. And you.
Yes, and Eric Weinstein.
And Eric Weinstein.
What a brilliant mind that is entering, not only this community, but he's curious, and he is one of the smartest people on this planet, bar none.
I know it.
And now, but there's another part to this. I feel that the world, us, everybody, we're just getting smarter. Every day, we are smarter today than we were 10 years ago. We have, we've all got a doctorate degree in knowledge over the last 10 years and the last 20 years. And we are understanding more than we ever have collectively as a planet. And I think that we know now that, of course, we can't be alone in the universe. That is just statistically an impossibility. But we understand this. It isn't about science fiction movies or imagination. Today we understand this, and we are, because of our intelligence, Whitley, we can handle more, right? We can handle this knowledge.
We're getting used to this. And, when Roger Lear was alive, he used to talk about the fact that children's intelligence, tested intelligence, has been rising dramatically. And, when I look at my grandkids as compared to what I was like when I was 9, and I think, I didn't realize at the time, but I was actually a complete moron by comparison to these kids. And when they grow up, I'm not a moron now. But when they grow up, what in the world are they going to be like? They're amazing. And it's not just my grandkids, everybody's kids. It's a general experience.
I talked to my daughters today, and, they're 26 years old, but I look back to where I was mentally, and, I look back at my daughters today, and, they're 26 years old, but, I look back to where I was mentally, and, they're 26 years old, but, I look back at my daughters today, and, they're 26 years old, but, I look back to where I was mentally, and, at, that age, 20, 21, 22, 26, and they are just light years past me. Light years. It's like I'm 58, and they are where I am today. They've got like a 26-year head start on me. Yeah, well, exactly. And my 9-year-old knows as much as I knew, easily as much as I knew when I was 20. Mm-hmm. Easily. Yeah. Maybe more. And so, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready for this? We're asking for it. Are we ready? Well, we better be. And the Making Contact conference, this is Mark's conference. It's makingcontact.com, by the way. I don't think we've mentioned that. And the other one is Conscious Life Expo.com. ConsciousLifeExpo.com. Yeah. So go to those websites and go to makingcontact.com, because that's the first one up. And it, we have to get involved. If we do get involved in a rational way, admitting the limitations we're under right now, and we basically forget about the whole disclosure process. I know I've never thought it mattered very much, and now I'm quite certain that the public effort to make contact that someone like Mark is working on so hard with these radios and everything that he works with, that is what matters. That's what the visitors are going to respond to, because there's a reason that they went into people's homes and their bedrooms and their lives and engaged with people directly. And the reason is we can handle it and we can make it work, I'm quite sure. But I don't think that governments are going to be as successful for a very simple reason. There's nothing wrong with the governments and nothing wrong with the people in them, but they have a mission which is fundamentally protective. Their job is to protect the society from external intrusions that could be dangerous, of all kinds, whether it's a disease, an invasion, whatever it may be. That mindset's not the right mindset for that. No, for this. It's not. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Whitley Strieber. Tonight we're having a conversation about E.T. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Whitley's websites, unknowncountry.com and Strieber.com. The links are over on our website. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. KGRADB.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B Blend for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Whitley Strieber is here. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Mark Sims is joining us for the first time. And then Wednesday night, Peter Robbins joins us, followed by Thursday night with Fader Night. Open lines all night long. And tonight, as promised, Whitley and I are just going to have an open and frank conversation about E.T. And one of the things, I wanted to show the Whitley, check this out. Let's see, what camera are you on? Whitley, can you see this?
I can see it.
That was gifted to me by Mark Sims.
That's right. Yeah, I've seen he's got those.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. And the best part about it is it opens up, and then on the inside, it's very clever. It's a piece of jewelry, but then this spins open, and then there is a 4-leaf clover in there. It's just incredible. Mark, thank you for this. But anyway, the other aspect to this, Whitley. You have been dealing with so many different facets of this question, but today it appears that the government and the Pentagon want to be our best friend. And I'm talking about the UFO community and this ET conversation in UAPs. It's never been like this before. And there is a big chunk of this community that is okay with it. I'm going to throw that right at you. Are you okay with making best friends and jumping into the pond and paddling around with the government and the Department of Defense?
Well, let's think first about why they may have changed their tune, because you're talking to somebody who's been oppressed by them for a long time.
Right.
I mean, the way back when one of the first things that happened was the FBI visited my doctor. I suppose to try to find dirt on me, something that could enable them to debunk me. And so I am, to say the least, wishing to cut the cards in any poker game I play with the Pentagon. That doesn't mean I won't play poker with them. Absolutely not. I will. Of course I will. I think we all should be more than willing to take what is available. But let's think about why this change. There can only be one reason for it, in my opinion.
What is that?
And that is that they know or suspect that something is going to happen outside of their control that is going to take the initiative away from them. That is to say, something is going to happen, or a series of events are going to occur, a very complex series of events, such as climate breakdown coupled with ET appearance, something like that. And they are going to they're going to lose the thread. And they don't want to lose the thread. They don't want to be out of the picture. Once again, it's their mission to protect the country. And if somebody outflanks them and ET ends up not on the White House lawn, but in my backyard, or I don't have a backyard because I'm living in a condo, but say if you have a backyard, maybe you'll have a backyard, ends up in your backyard or everybody's backyards. If they end up walking into our living rooms en masse, anything like that could happen. Then where is the Pentagon? Sitting on the fact that it lied about this for 70 years, and then all of a sudden here it is in our laps. Now, that's a pretty hard chair to sit in. They don't want to sit there. They want to chummy up to us, and fine. If they do, and if, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to fold my arms and say you tormented me in the past, then I don't like you. I'm too practical. I'm going to take what I can when I can get it. Simple as that.
Do you, could it be, let's look at this, because although I agree with you, I think that they know that there is something that is out of their control. That's the only real, I've looked at this from every angle. It has to be something that they know about that is not in their control. But what would those things be? Maybe they're tracking a craft outside of our star system right now, and it's taking a few years to get here, and they've been tracking it, and they now know that it's inevitable that this event is about to happen. That's one scenario. Another one may be maybe there's somebody rogue that is running around with a USB drive full of data, and they know that this is about to get exposed, and there's that possibility. Maybe they are in contact with ET. Maybe ET has made an announcement and said, we're going to be here on such and such a date, and all of these scenarios are completely out of the government's control.
I think that's the bottom line, that they see a lot of things that are out of their control coming down the pike in different ways, and they want to maintain some kind of a position, some kind of position of influence because it's their job to keep the society organized and stable and not let it fly apart at the seams. And I have to tell you, from what I know about the close encounter experience, if this comes into the general world, it's going to be hard. It takes experiencers years to get into a situation with this that they can live with and benefit from. It's not easy. And maybe it'll get easier. I don't know. Maybe there was a learning curve on the other side too. Maybe they were trying to figure out what worked with us, and maybe they'll be easier to deal with in the future. I don't know. But I think that there's going to be a very big culture shock, and people talk all the time about religion. I don't think that's the important thing. I think it's much larger than that. I think, among other things, when you get close to the contact experience, things happen to you, such as, in my case and in many other cases, I've had experiences of leaving my physical body in full, complete consciousness with a total separation and moving into completely different areas. Once I was 2,000 miles away, and I was totally conscious the whole time. I was absolutely not attached to my body. Now, many close encounter witnesses have this experience. It's quite ordinary. It is not something in the brain. It is something about the way we relate to reality that we don't understand and that isn't supposed to be true. Most members of the scientific community start with the idea that the material world, as we understand it now, is everything. Now, if you go back 200 years, they had the same attitude, only in the past 200 years, the material world has grown considerably. But they still take it like that, and that makes it a belief system rather than a scientific exploration, but they don't realize that. And they're going to be disrupted, seriously disrupted. Not so much by ET. I think they'll absorb that. I think they'll absorb that if ET shows up, and they'll do what they can with it. I think the best of them will be trying to understand what exactly ET is. But when it comes to the fact that not only is ET here, but they have souls, and ET knows way more about that than they do and is primarily interested in and focused on that aspect of their lives that they haven't even believed existed, they're going to have trouble, Jimmy. They're going to have big trouble. Their whole worldview, everything is going to collapse. It's going to implode. And you look at what happened to the Incas when Pizarro showed up. Their whole worldview imploded and they became unable to function. They just stood by in their thousands in their powerful empire and let a couple of hundred Spaniards completely take over their world. They didn't know what to do with this because it did not fit into any of their cultural expectations and understanding of the world. Now, it's different. What's different about it? ET has been trying to fit into our world for at least 70 years and probably longer. So when a focused contact begins to emerge, we will already have a cultural foundation with which to address it. We won't end up like the Incas. You and I won't. The listeners won't. The average person won't. That's not true of our scientists. Many of our religious people, they will. They will be undercut.
Do you think it's as simple as, and I can only imagine how the Pope and the Vatican is preparing to deal with this, but it's got to be simple, Whitley. It's got to be something like an announcement. God's cool with it. Right? Right? It's got to be something like that.
The most complicated thing that ever happened in human history simple enough for the average person to understand. That's going to be quite a trick. Now, as far as religion is concerned, I've had a very long journey with this, and I started out as a boy as a very devout Catholic. I never really rejected it. I went through a lifelong, and increasingly nuanced vision of the religious experience, culminating in Jesus a New Vision, which detaches the Jesus teaching in completely from the Christian doctrine and shows how the teaching works whether you have the doctrine or not. And that kind of thing, now that I can see what Jesus did in a very human context, I know the resurrection happened, and I know that it was basically an extraordinary human event. That changes everything for me. It changes my idea of what I am, and therefore it causes my experience of ET to be much larger, because I know that these entities have an enormously sophisticated vision of the soul also. So we're on that level, we're not separate. We're all humanity. Some of it is physically like us, and some of it is not physically like us. But we all share the same journey, which is ascension into a higher and higher intensity of consciousness. And we're all on that path, and maybe it's an endless path, but it's an interesting path because it never lets you down. The deeper you go and the higher you go, the more incredible it becomes, maybe forever.
There was a statement made by Tom DeLonge on this program back in 2016. And it was something that stuck with me. I was talking about this earlier today with Chris Matthew. It's something that has stuck with me. And his statement, I'm going to paraphrase and be very general, Whitley, but his statement was framed around the idea that there are some very religious people in the Pentagon and in the military and in politics that go to church every Sunday. They've been raised a certain way, and when it comes to what they believe some of this contact is demonic, and that some of this may not have our best intentions in play, and this is their belief system, and this is the way that they are always going to approach this. I'm speaking about the military, and I'm speaking about the Pentagon, and I don't know. I'm going to use the word doctrine, if I may. I'm not going to take Tom's words or statements as doctrine and as fact, but it has to be something that we really need to think about, that there are people in positions of power that command divisions of the military that believe that ET could be demonic.
Well, I think that way back when, there was a fear that this was a demonic presence. But the problem is this: anything unknown is scary. And therefore, we assume demonic. And I always think to myself, well, if you're going to go down that path, then why not angelic? And people would say, well, an angel would be beautiful. But maybe not. We don't know that. We don't know whether the aesthetics of the sacred are the same as our aesthetics. We don't know. So, but keeping an open mind is one thing. Now, I've also heard stories of quite horrible things happening when military people were ordered to violently confront UFOs, basically. I mean, you go back to the Mantell incident, where This Captain Mantell and his flight of Mustangs, as other pilots, were ordered to attempt to intercept what appeared to be a UFO hanging over their base in Kansas. And something happened to Mantell. I'm pretty sure he was shot down because he got too close. He may have attempted to shoot at it. I don't know. But I do know this, that something was covered up. And the reason I know that is that the base commander ended up living around the corner from us after he was left, after he was basically cashiered from his command. And because of where he was living, he was being watched over by somebody, I'm quite sure. And I knew his kids, and we played together, and we never talked about flying saucers at all. I mean, we never even thought about it. We didn't even know about the Mantell incident, of course. So, but he was right there in the same place, Colonel Guy Hicks. And I've suspected, but I can't prove, that my father might have had something to do with watching over him. I know there was an FBI agent living across the street that my dad knew very well. They were friends for years. So the military has had trouble. People have been shot at, I think. I think people have been killed. I think if you're going to shoot at these guys, you better expect them to shoot back. And I do not think that there's incidents of their proactively attacking us. But there may be that we don't know about.
Of course. And going to the UAP Task Force report, were you surprised, because there has been a general expectation that this report was going to be about ET, and all of these views have been projected by the Department of Defense and what this report was to be about. But they want us to believe that there is an interest in ET, but they don't want to say ET. Now, why if you are going to project this image, why not just come out and say it?
I think they're being quite truthful there. As we started the show out, I was talking about the fact that we do not know what this is. And I mean, it looks like one thing, but that might not be what it is. We just don't know. Well, for example, let's talk a few minutes about time travel. Now, we know that movement through time is possible in a certain way. According to one of the leading theories of reality, called the block universe theory, essentially everything that happens, that the moment, the current moment, is a kind of wave front moving forward, leaving behind it an incredibly detailed record of everything that happens. Now, conceivably, and the math, there's no math that we can see that would prevent this from happening. You can go back into the past. You obviously can't affect it, though. You can't do anything to it. Or can you? There's something called the principle of least action, where that means that water flowing down a hillside is never going to take a detour to look at the view. It's always going to go take the path of least resistance. That's the fundamental reality of nature. And it's also why what is called the grandfather paradox, where you can't go back in time and kill your own grandfather, will not prevent you from going back in time. You can go back in time. Now, however, is it possible that if you created something that didn't exist at all, that had never existed, and sent that back in time as kind of a probe to interact with your own past, that you could change your present. And is that why E.T. is so strange looking? It's us from the future trying to trick our own past into making changes that we need for whatever reason. See how weird this can get? And it can get a lot weirder than that, Jimmy. I can go down some very unusual paths here. And believe me, I can get you to the point where you don't know any more than I do what's really happening. Or the Pentagon. They're just being truthful and realistic, I think. And I'm not defending them. Don't get me wrong. When they say that they want to call them UAPs instead of UFOs, because they don't actually know what they are. Unknown aerial phenomena rather than unknown flying objects. They look like flying objects, but we've never, at least publicly, we don't have any evidence of having one in our hands, although I do believe we probably do have some intact ones. And I do believe that, in fact, I know we have metal and other anomalous debris that has been extensively studied. I know that. But does that mean it's from ET or not? That I don't know.
When we come back after the break, I want to not only continue this discussion, but if the government knows that this may not be extraterrestrial, like outside of our solar system, and that it is it's local, it's us from the future, what would that ultimately mean? And that type of disclosure coming at us, I think that would have a pretty significant impact on the world versus life out there in the universe. And I want to continue this discussion when we come back. Our guest tonight, Whitley Strieber. Great conversation, great start to the show. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Mark Sims. Wednesday night, Peter Robbins. Tonight, it's Whitley Strieber. More with Whitley after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. This is Jimmy Church, and I invite you to attend the 20th Annual Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo live and in person this September 17th, 18th, and 19th at the LAX Airport Hilton. Connect with exhibitors, community, thought leaders, and friends as we begin to recreate the world. You can also watch the expo from the comfort of your own home. Live stream from the main stage in Los Angeles and from the main stage in London. Truly a global simulcast event broadcast around the world. Live stream and in-person expo tickets are available now. I'll be your host all weekend long from Los Angeles. And on Friday, it's my Ancient Secrets and Earth Mysteries themed segment with James Keenan, Caroline Corey, and William Henry. And on Saturday, Daniel Sheen and I sit down for a one-on-one interview live. We have an amazing lineup of 25 speakers, including Bashar, Gail Thackeray, Kimberly Meredith, Whitley Strieber, Stephen Bassett, Daniel Brinkley, and Lisa Garr. Please visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com for tickets and info. That's ConsciousLifeExpo.com and use that promo code Jimmy for a special discount. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Whitley Strieber is here. More with Whitley in just a second, because right now I'm going to talk to you about Virtual Shield. VirtualShield.com. You need your own VPN. Every night on the show, I repeat myself. I have multiple computers here. I have a big, beautiful studio. Every single computer here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all run Virtual Shield. That's it. Nobody knows where I am. Nobody knows about my search history. I run in private, and this is the world that we are in today. Virtual Shield, encrypted servers all around the world, and the most important part, a strict no logs policy. Everything that you do is not logged. That's it. You need to get Virtual Shield. You need to get your own VPN. And it's all simple to do. You can click on the link in the video description box below. It takes you straight there. You can click on the banners that are over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can type into your browser, virtualshield.com/fade to black. Any of that will get you Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. You've got to do it, and you've got to do it now. All right? All right. I've spoken my piece. Whitley Strieber. Okay, Whitley, what is worse? That we find out that we are alone in the universe, it's not E.T., it's time travelers from the future, or that we are making friends with E.T., right? I think the world would nearly lose their minds if they found out and we were told that we are all that there is, right? I mean,
that would be really extraordinary, and really, I agree with you, frightening, because the problem is the universe is really, really big. You know, one of the rarest things in the universe, if you compare it to the number of stars and planets that we know exist, a grain of sand. A grain of sand compared to the number of stars, and in particular, the number of planets, if the distribution of planets is consistent across the whole universe, and there's no reason it shouldn't be, and every reason to think it is, then a grain of earthly sand is incredibly rare because there is so little sand compared to the number of stars, let alone the number of planets. Now, if it took God that much effort to create one living planet, then, you know, he does, or she, or it does definitely need help here. I mean, there's this is an awful lot of work for a very, very tiny result. And I don't believe that's the case. I'll tell you what I think. And I don't really talk about this very much, but I think what's going on here is this. There are planets that generate life, and they eventually, some of them generate life forms that have consciousness, that is to say, they are self-reflective and moving through time. And this is an unusual state of consciousness. I think we're quite an unusual state of consciousness. I think most consciousness is extratemporal. It's outside of time. And probably when it's moving through time and there's someone in a state where everything is always new, it's probably something very desired, like a very beautiful gem or something like that. That we're, in that sense, we're unusual, and they're probably little planets dotted here and there around the universe, but not many, and maybe fewer than we think. And let me tell you why I say that. Because Earth is a life-creating machine. It was probably designed by somebody who wanted to draw life out of the planet. Now, why would that be true? Well, if you look at the way the solar system is constructed, the gas giants absorb most of the debris from outer space. They don't reach the inner stony planets, which is why our planet isn't a bunch of rubble. But if you look up at the moon, there are a lot of craters there. Why? Because the debris that does reach the inner solar system, in our case, on our planet, with the moon orbiting it, most of it's going to hit the moon rather than the Earth. Big strikes against the Earth are incredibly rare. They happen, of course, or the dinosaurs would still be around, but they're rare. Now look at another thing. When we have a solar eclipse, we don't even think twice about something about it that is incredibly strange. When the moon occludes the sun, it does it perfectly. It's in exactly the right position to occlude the sun precisely. Why? Because was it put there? Is it even a natural object? We don't know that. But you add all of these things up together, and it begins to look like, oh, and another thing the moon does is it slows down the rotation of the Earth, so there's not a high-level rotational wind blowing all the time. Instead, we have weather and we have climate here, and that's because of the moon. So did someone put all this puzzle together in order to draw life out of the planet Earth? Is there someone with a vast scale of time to deal with, hundreds of millions or even billions of years? And when we see these strange creatures with their penetrating, brilliant, immeasurably challenging and immeasurably haunted eyes, are we seeing not just our creators, but the creators? And if so, Jimmy, where did they come from? And what will it be like to sit down across a table from them?
Well, okay. So well said. But let me back up to what you said earlier about playing poker, right? And shuffling that deck of cards. The universe being as large as it is, as a matter of fact, it's infinitely large, and galaxies are dropping off the observable universe every day at the speed of light. We don't even know what is actually out there. But that being said, that shuffling of the deck of cards, every time you deal out a hand around that poker table and you look at your cards and then you pick up the cards and then you shuffle them again, how long will it take you to deal out an identical hand? Well, it's going to happen. And the same thing is present with chemistry. The deck gets shuffled, but those particles, those atoms combine a certain way. And they will recombine just like that deck gets shuffled and you deal out an identical hand. It's happening throughout the universe. There is a duplicate out there. And with the size of the universe, there has to be hundreds of billions of Earths with intelligent life on it. It's just a numbers game, Whitley.
Well, exactly. But the thing is, say there are 100 billion. That is still an incredibly tiny number in this universe. Tiny. It's minuscule. If there are 100 billion, there might be one in every 50,000 or 100,000 galaxies. One. It's that small.
Yes, it is.
The universe is that big, and that number is that small.
Right. And so let's shift this again. If we look at our Milky Way, that has got somewhere between 500 billion and a trillion stars in it, and we are mapping it every day, we now know that every single star has got a planet or 2 or 10 next to it.
Right.
And playing that numbers game again, where astronomers today, astrophysicists today, the accepted number in our Milky Way is 20 billion to 40 billion Earth-like planets in the Goldilocks zone, just in our Milky Way. Again, it's a numbers game.
It has to be more than just in the Goldilocks zone. It has to have the same structure as our solar system, or it's very unlikely that higher life forms are going to be able to evolve because the planet's going to be too violent. It's going to be exposed to too much external disruption. And in addition to that, most stars that are similar to our sun blow off huge life-destroying solar flares every few thousand years. We know our sun doesn't because look at how long life has been here. Most of those planets are sterile. Believe me, it's true. They must be.
The size of everything, the way that I choose to look at this is that chemistry is chemistry, atoms are atoms, particles are particles. And we know that they can only combine so many different ways. That's it. It's a finite number. It's not an infinite number. And we have meteorites that are arriving on this planet. One very recently that had bleeping amino acids on it, that had the sugars of RNA distributing around the Milky Way and the universe. This isn't something that is uncommon. that the very fundamentals of life are being carried around on rocks.
Right. Well, we're talking about what we're going to be talking about at Making Contact, actually. So, but this is important stuff, because when we do meet, there's somebody here. And there's no question in my mind about that. There is somebody. Lived with them for years now, and they have roughed me up. They have frightened me. They have enlightened me. They have changed me in every way I think a person can be changed. Mostly for the better. Because right now, am I scared of them? No. Do I hate them? Absolutely not. Have they revolutionized my relationship to consciousness? Oh, yes. Have they made me understand the universe and them and myself and us more profoundly than I would ever have thought possible before I met them? Yes, they have. And that's, I think that many of the close encounter witnesses listening to this right now are nodding their heads and saying, yes, that's what happened to me too. Because you talk about contact, it's going to be a trajectory. We, the close encounter people, have already been on that trajectory. You've been on that trajectory. Now, what do we do when the public has to get on the same roller coaster? And the military, who are already scared of the visitors and already fear they are demonic in some way, have to get on that roller coaster too. And they're gonna get on it. They're all gonna get on it. If this thing unfolds and becomes a publicly accessible and visible phenomenon in some way, if ET in effect lands, then that's going to happen. And especially what if some of the things that people believe, like I'm not a big believer in all these different species, but that doesn't mean they're not here. I could be, it just means I haven't seen them. I've seen 3 species. But were they even different species? That I don't know. However, what if the Flatwoods Monster was a spacesuit in which there was a 7-foot tall something or other, and it had a tail because there was a tail on the thing? What if that comes walking out and the public is told, okay, ET's here. It's a scaly, 7-foot tall monstrosity. It's very aggressive, and it's liable to end up in your bedroom in the middle of the night. Now, people are not going to be comfortable with that at all. I don't think. Do you?
No.
No.
They're probably okay. Going back to chemistry and DNA and just what makes sense. Our bodies, Whitley, our brain, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 legs. It makes a lot of sense. It's a pretty good put together machine, right? It's allowed us to do what we've accomplished. That same general build, I think, would make a lot of sense anywhere in the universe, right?
Yeah.
That DNA, right? Now, what would affect the differences? Gravity, right? Less gravity, taller, more gravity, shorter. There's these things. But the descriptions from people, and, like yourself, with the grays and anatomically very similar to us with those differences. Wouldn't we understand that? Wouldn't we be okay just as long as they're not, biting our heads off and eating us? Right? I think we would be okay
remember
with
that
it.
Outer Limits episode. It's a cookbook.
Yes.
Man, how to serve man. That was one of the all-time greatest science fiction TV episodes in history.
Yes. But wouldn't we expect that?
Well, I think it's important to try to put our expectations aside and to just be open to what is. You said earlier, you talked about how, if you see something, you're gonna believe what you see, what your eyes are telling you. I can easily show you how that is a mistake, that you actually can't tell what you're seeing. You can't tell if what you're seeing is what's there. I can demonstrate it very simply.
How so?
I think I've talked about this on your show before, so stop me if I have. Something called the Gettier paradox.
No, but we talked about it 2 weeks ago. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, but not on your show.
No.
Okay. All right. So, here's the paradox. It's possible to be right and wrong at the same time and not know it. In fact, that is the human condition. And here's the little philosophical game that shows how that's true. A farmer has a cow that he thinks may be ill. A heifer, a Holstein, she's black and white. He puts her in a field by herself. There are only two features in this field, a tree and a hollow. If the cow is in the hollow, he won't be able to see her. But he knows she won't linger in the hollow long, so he's not worried about that. And he can see her if she's under the tree. So he's working in his barn, and he's watching her. Every once in a while, he looks up, and he sees her standing in the field and knows she's okay. However, when he's working in his barn, a piece of black and white paper blows into the field and gets stuck under the tree. Big piece of paper. And he glances into the field, sees the black and white paper under the tree, and thinks to himself, my cow is okay, she's taking the shade under the tree. He's wrong. His cow is not under the tree. But he's right. His cow is in the hollow and she is okay. He's wrong and right at the same time. And we can never tell. Nothing in our system of perceptions allows us to tell when that is true and when it is not. We cannot tell. And we have to, and that's why I keep saying we have to go into this with an open mind, keeping the question alive until the question is defeated by circumstances around us, not when we decide that something is true, but rather when we run out of all other options, then the last thing that's there has to be what's real. But we got to go down that road. And right now, like in the fairy folk days, they had all kinds of different species of fairy folk and different habits and places they lived and all that stuff. Just like we have different types of ET and different planets they come from and all that stuff. But that's a path mankind's been going down for thousands of years, of jumping to conclusions before we have enough data. We have a chance to get some real data here. The government maybe will become helpful and will start to expose some of the data it has in its possession. I think it would be immensely helpful if just the materials data was exposed so that we could learn a lot more about the molecular structure of these metals. Because if we know how that was done, we can, or if we know what the properties of that are, we might be able to figure out how it was done, and that enables us to think about how these other entities think. What do they think about? How do they build things? What we can learn so much about them from very, very little. This piece of material I have I got from art and from Art's Parts. It's sitting in my office, right here in this office right now. If you look at it under a microscope, it's layers of magnesium that's kind of in a foam and bismuth in layers. and there's nothing between the layers to hold them together. It's a little miracle in and of itself. Linda sold hers to TTSA, and I don't know whatever happened to it, but I've still got mine because I haven't got any intention of giving any more materials to a lab and never getting it back. I've already been there and done that. But it's real.
It's real. There is a statement, and we have arts parts and we have fragments and metamaterials, but in Leslie Kane and Ralph Blumenthal's article last year in the New York Times, buried in the article, Dr. Eric Davis is attributed to this quote where he says that he briefed the Senate and told them that we are in possession of off-world vehicles.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother step from arts parts.
Look, I've said this privately when I was asked what I thought should be done with this material, and I'll say it publicly. I think the vehicles, or at least one of them, should be put in the Smithsonian Institution, and for all to see, because this will change the story fundamentally. It will no longer be possible for anyone to deny the existence of this presence unless they are choosing to go down some kind of rabbit hole, which they will. Some of them will, I'm sure. And there's another thing about these materials that I might as well just say straight out. If you look at these materials, if you're close to them, you're not looking at passive stuff. It looks back at you. This is alive in ways that we do not understand. Believe you me. I'm telling you the truth right now. And the people need to be able to walk up to this material and experience this level of reality, this other level that is intrinsic in these vehicles.
How big is the piece that you have?
It's tiny. It's just a little tiny piece. It's about half the size of your thumbnail, I would say.
Well, that's significant.
Oh yeah, you don't have to. We've looked at it under an electron microscope, but it's most interesting under a 600 power magnification microscope. You can see all of the detail, the layering, and the absence of anything between the layers. It's right there. You can see it. I've got pictures of it right here in this office.
Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Whitley Strieber, a very open conversation about ET. That's what we are doing tonight. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. More with Whitley right after this.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to wtih.com. That's wtih.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to wtih.com. That's wtih.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to wtih.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's wtih.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great conversation tonight with Whitley Strieber. And listen to what I'm about to do to Whitley. Whitley, I'm going to change your life. Take a pen out. Show me a pen. Pick up a pen. Show it to me.
I'm holding a pen.
Okay, now show me a piece of paper. You're in your office. Okay.
I've got a piece of paper.
Now, I would like for you to write down these 3 words. Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. I have just changed your life, Whitley. You need to watch Rick and Morty. It's a cartoon. It's for adults.
I know what it is.
Have you been watching it?
No.
Okay. You got to start with season 1. You'll be able to, the new season 6 is just out, but you'll be able to burn through it pretty quickly. They're 20-minute episodes or so. It's adult. Okay. There's a lot of bad language. Depends on what your definition is. I think it's pretty good language. But anyway, it's science and physics, and Rick Sanchez, the dad, is the smartest man in the universe. And so,
I know that. I know Rick and Morty. Now I have watched it. My kids love Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty is the best show ever created for television, and
it's great. Yeah, it's a terrific show.
It's amazing. Rick and Morty. So just start with season.
Before we go on, Jimmy, I want to honor somebody who passed on recently, yesterday.
Who?
A great rocker, sort of underground guy, Chucky Weiss. You ever heard of him?
Oh yeah, Chucky Weiss, I used to check out Chucky. He passed away yesterday.
Yeah. He was obituary. It was yesterday.
What was the name of his band? Chucky Weiss and the Goddamn Liars. I believe that.
I don't know, but he was a fixture at some of the rock clubs here in L.A., and he was a great rocker.
I saw Chuck many, many, many times, and I'm very saddened by this news.
Yeah, I just want to honor him because he was an artist of exceptional brilliance.
You know what? The great thing about Chucky, and this is the truth, the audience was always the who's who of the music industry.
Yeah, because he was he was incredibly talented,
incredible.
And
Chucky
he
Weiss,
didn't,
wow.
He didn't push himself. He wasn't really interested in being
Fame.
huge or anything, but he was really interested in the music.
And his shows, all of them, which were, at bars and local places around town, they were always an event. I mean, was
that's
it.
Right.
That was it, man. Chucky Weiss.
And if you could
tonight.
find out when he was going to play, that was the great thing.
That was
thing. Not necessarily easy to do.
Man, I am totally bummed. I didn't know that you checked out Chucky Weiss. Of course you watch Rick and Morty. Absolutely.
Yeah, you misunderstand me. I'm not all classical music and reading Latin poetry in the original or anything like that. I go to other places too.
You will never stop amazing me, young man. That was a good drop right there, Chucky Weiss. Chucky Weiss. Okay, somebody. Now this is something that I don't know anything about, at least with you. And somebody requested earlier tonight. They said, Jimmy, you have to, because Whitley doesn't talk about this enough. You have to ask Whitley about Randolph Air Force Base. Now, and I'm going right there. I have no idea what that means.
Okay. Well, I wish I could say that I'm telling. I don't know. Let me back up. Randolph Air Force Base. When I was a little boy, 7 years old, I was recruited for an accelerated learning program, which I believe was carried out at Randolph Air Force Base. I'm not certain that was the location because you're a 7-year-old being driven around in a car. You don't know for sure. You don't know, but that's where I think it was. When I say I was recruited, my parents were recruited, and I was, and they agreed to put me in this program. I was not told, and I did not see the recruitment take place. My closest friend, one of my very closest friends in the world, however, was 9, and he was in the living room when he was recruited. And he remembers the recruitment pitch very well. It was two Air Force people whom his parents knew and who came in, and they talked to them about the fact that it was a special program, accelerated learning for very bright children. And it involved the use of something called a Skinner box, which was a box that children were put in, and then repetitive material was fed to them in a state where they were completely isolated and didn't have any distractions, basically, is the way I understand it. And for whatever reason, it did not work with me, and it terrified me beyond words. And so much so, and what I remember about it and what actually happened might be two different things, because I was so scared by being put in this thing that what happened was I started in August, and I was going every Thursday night. And in October of 1952, my immune system collapsed from stress. And because as it happened, I also had a very stressful school teacher at the time. My family life was very quiet. My parents were pretty formal, and it was an old-fashioned Southern family where there was not a lot of yelling and stuff unless I got into Dutch, which happened fairly frequently. But in any case, it was not a place where people would arbitrarily scream at each other. And this teacher was a screamer. And that was just driving me nuts. And then I had to go to this thing on Thursday nights and be put in this box. And it was too much for me. And my immune system collapsed. And I had to be taken to a military hospital, Burke General Hospital, and given gamma globulin shots and isolated from all other children until I could have it, well, my white blood cell count went up again, I guess. And I didn't go back to school until January, until after Christmas. So that's what happened at Randolph. And now there's an awful lot of stuff on the internet about very oppressive things being done to children in general. And when the MK Ultra files were released, the judge agreed that there were 40 boxes of files that should not be released. Were those the ones about the children and the experiments on children? I don't know. There was something going on even in the mid-'80s, though, when the Finders program occurred, where a group of sort of feral, very dirty little children were seen wandering around in a park in Tallahassee, Florida, and residents called the police because they didn't understand where these children came from. It was in a residential area. It wasn't like it was a sort of semi-public park. The police came and gathered the children up and questioned them, and it turned out that they were with two men who were in a white van, and they were sleeping on a mattress in the back of the van, and they were not clean. And they told the police that they were being taken to a school in Monterrey, Mexico, for bright children. And the police didn't know their last names, and the police eventually turned this over to the Treasury Department, which is the part of the U.S. government that investigates, I guess then investigated, maybe still does, child trafficking. And a congressman got involved and demanded a wider investigation because there seemed to be some connection between this group and the Central Intelligence Agency. And then the CIA stepped in and put a lid on the whole thing, saying it was a national security issue and that there could be no further public investigation of it. And there it ended. Now, what the hell was this about? I remember going to a school in Monterrey, Mexico. And years later, I went back to Monterrey and drove all through the hills trying to find the place. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't remember where it was. But it was somehow connected to the whole accelerated learning program. I don't think it was an accelerated learning program, frankly. I think it was a program designed to crack the cosmic egg and do something to you that kind of shattered your reality and let the night in. And it did let the night in my life. The visitors showed up a few years later.
Did this program, did it involve, was it only military families? Or
no, we weren't military families.
You weren't military, right? That's my question.
No, there's a lot of military in my family, but my dad was not in the military at that time. He had been during the war, but he wasn't in the military then. And the other boy's father had some. He was a lawyer and had some connection to the military in the war too, but he wasn't in the military either. So I don't think it was only military families at all.
It's very rare. I mean, you never really hear about this where the military, certainly inside of the United States, on the United States soil, interfacing with civilians. Off
well, this
base.
is why I don't know that Randolph is the correct answer. That they were Air Force people, I know that because my friend saw them and knew them and remembers them. That is the case. So, and I remember Randolph Well, I tell you why I think it was Randolph. It's a weird thing happened to me. We were going to Ann and I, when we lived in Texas in the 90s, late 90s, we're going out to meet some friends out in the direction of Randolph. We were on the interstate that goes past Randolph, I-35. I think it's I-35. And all of a sudden, I found myself not on the highway anymore. I was on another road, and I had no idea how I had gotten there. And I was driving because I just didn't know what else to do, and ended up at the south gate of Randolph. And I knew the place. I knew it well. It was a very strange experience that I didn't know why I knew it. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know why I had gone there. I had gone there. I just went there. And I said to Annie, did you notice anything unusual? She said, no, you just took the exit all of a sudden. It seemed fine to me. And I turned around and we went home.
Where was your family?
There's some kind of a connection, an unconscious connection there.
Right. Where was your family living at this time? Were you guys in San Antonio?
Yeah, we were living in San Antonio in Terrell Hills, and it was about maybe a 20-minute drive from Randolph from our house. And it was connected somehow in my memory with a teacher from my day camp. And I remember right after I went to one afternoon after the day camp in the summer, I was taken home. They had a station wagon, and instead of taking me home, the teacher took me to her house. And, I was a very entitled little boy. I was 7 years old and lived in a world of servants. And, I regarded her as not much more than a servant. And so I was, I expected her to do whatever I asked her to do. And instead, this man came into the living room, came in the house, and I did not like him. I immediately had a very negative feeling and frightened feeling toward him. And I said to her I wanted to go home now, and I expected her to take me home. Instead, she disappeared into the back of the house. And I tried to go out the front door, and the man blocked my way. So I went into the back of the house to find her, and I went and I found her in a bedroom, lying on her side, looking very frightened and apparently tied up. Of course, she wasn't tied up. She was only pretending to be tied up.
Oh, okay.
And so they terrified me. Me.
Right.
And then it ended. I don't remember that it goes black after that. I tried to run out of the house and get away from the man, and it just goes black.
What's interesting is Randolph, and I'm sure you didn't know this at your age, but Randolph is a school. That's it. It's a giant. It's a military training facility.
Well, there was another thing going on at Randolph. I know it's a military training facility. I didn't know anything like that when I was 7.
Of course not.
But the high altitude studies laboratory was there, run by a man called Hubertus Strughold, who was a paperclip scientist, who was one of the, as it turned out later, was one of the ones responsible for doing things like putting Jews in high altitude decompression chambers and watching what happened to them as they died, and putting them in ultra cold freezing water for the same purpose. And he was a horrendous man, and he was a person who experimented in dreadful ways on other human beings. And so his presence there, and the fact that this guy that was involved with me had a funny accent. He spoke English, and his accent was sort of a mixture of German and Spanish. I remember that aspect of it very well because it was so strange. And you add all those things up together, and you're getting Nazi scientists and little children in boxes and terrifying them. Something was real wrong, Jimmy. And I was 7, and I don't remember it very well. But it was obviously very unhealthy, or I wouldn't have gotten sick.
How long do you think you were actually there?
I was there from August until October, and I got sick in October, and they took me out of it.
And what about your friend, your best friend?
He was, I think he and my sister were both profoundly marked by it, and not in good ways. Neither of them really worked out very well as people.
You know what I've always, because I've heard about this stuff a lot. And,
yeah, me too.
And I'm a military brat. I lived on a lot of bases and DoD schools, and I have gone back and thought about that. You know, did I have anything unusual? And I didn't. I don't remember anything strange going on. But I've thought about this a lot because, military families and for the civilians, which is the vast amount of big part of the population, you don't really understand or can relate to the military family lifestyle. But when you're a military family, you're living on the base, where you're living in military housing, your kids are going to military schools. You're shopping at a military supermarket. Everything is closed, right? It's just this own bubble that you live in, and like going off base was like a big deal, right? You didn't really have a need to go off base. So if you're going to have a controlled environment like that, absolutely, I could see all of this happening or understand it, but I never witnessed anything. Whitley, I just don't. I don't remember it. I don't.
Well, I don't think it was too common. I'm not sure it was around, and I'm not sure what it was either. And I'm not even certain that my reaction to it was appropriate. I have a feeling that they may have developed some kind of accelerated learning program that they thought would work. And, it was the early 50s, and, they were just failed to understand. They didn't know what they were doing, essentially. It was a failure as far as I can tell. But there's just so much stuff around, people complaining about having been molested in various ways as children and stuff. It's really pretty intense stuff. And you have to wonder where there's smoke, there's fire. Something happened to people, and I think something happened to me. And I don't want to soft pedal it. Whatever it did, it damn near killed me at the age of 7.
Right. Wow, that's just incredible. Yeah, I knew nothing.
Look, Mark wants us to talk about making contact, so let's do that.
Let's change
We've been
gears.
talking about everything else, and listening is probably going nuts.
Oh, making contact. And we do have, I've got the website up. It is makingcontact.com. And,
that's right.
Of course, featuring Whitley and Christopher Mellon, Linda Moulton Howe, Mark Sims, Danny Sheehan, Lou Elizondo, and Eric Weinstein, and of course, yours truly will be there as well. Having this kind of set of collective minds together, I do find it extraordinary. But Mark Sims is the person to assemble everybody together.
Yeah, he's an incredible guy. I mean, actually is really an amazing man. And what is it? Tell him about, he gave you a promo code.
Yeah, which is a Jimmy Save 100.
Which means that it's $249 and you get it for $149 if you go in as Jimmy Church's listener.
I mean, how cool is Mark Sims? And
he is incredibly cool.
I mean, way cool.
He has these radios, which if you and they're just ordinary radios. You can buy them. They're called Baofeng two-way radios. You can buy them on Amazon for a couple $100, or rather for $40. Some of them, they're cheap. In any case, the radios, if you tune them to 144.1, which is an empty frequency because it was used in the old days for Morse code, and it's not used anymore. So there's nothing going on 144.1, or there shouldn't be. And you try to get into contact, you do. It starts to peep back at you. And Mark and Jimmy Blanchett, who will also be on making contact, have not only have they made contact with these radios, they've actually gotten videotaped UFO showing up in the context of the radios, meaning that there's a possibility of a much more directed kind of contact than that is possible using this. And he's experimenting with all kinds of cool stuff like that. And the guy is really very cool. And I want to make sure that we talk about his show because he's working very hard on it, making contact.
Well, the virtual aspect of this, you touched upon it earlier. I sat down with Mark and the rest of the team there and took a virtual tour, and literally a virtual tour. And what you can do here is unbelievable. Now we are going to be
very cool.
Yeah, we're going to be in an arena and this auditorium, and you go in, you can take a seat. In front of you are large screen TVs where we will be, but you can interact. You can talk in your own voice. You're not typing, or you can do that too as well. But you can walk around this island, which it is, and just go and do things. It's not limited. It's completely free form. It's completely unlimited. You can set up your own base camp there. You can invite other people in. You can go and set up a little cubicle, your own little office area, have a bunch of friends gather, and it's like a Zoom meeting, but real interaction. And I'm using the wrong term there in Zoom. No, I'm not. It is like that. What am I saying? Well,
it's sort of, but it feels different because it's like being in it's a virtual place, not like a screen. You walk from one part of the island to another, and you go into your room and you sit down, and you can see the people around you. You can watch what's going on the stage and so forth and so on. So it's really it's a very different kind of virtual environment than we're used to. It's not passive like sitting at a UFO conference that's being done on Zoom, and one speaker after another pops up on your screen and talks and then goes away again. It's much more like being somewhere. The island is a somewhere. It's not just a screen.
Yeah, it's I was walking around the island. I see a basketball court. I'm like, can I play basketball? Yes, you can. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Walk down to the beach and there's a boat. I was like, that's pretty cool. Get on the boat. I'm on the boat. I'm driving the boat around the island. And so there's this gamification aspect to this that we all understand today in playing a video game, but building your avatar and going and experiencing this. And of course, you're going to have a camera and a microphone. So if you go into a room, you can put yourself on a video screen in the room with your friend, and they can do the same thing.
Right.
It's absolutely free form. Anything that you can think of, you can actually do. It's very fun, and I will let everybody know where to go and get your avatar set up and go and explore this island and become a part of this virtual world. It is absolutely incredible, everything that they have put together. It's incredible.
Okay, Jimmy.
Whitley, thank you so much, my friend, and I can't wait for August 18th. There's that, but We've got Conscious Life Expo coming up right after that.
Yeah, we're going to actually be in person.
And we'll be able to break bread once again. Thank you so much, my friend.
That'll be fun.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, and thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're the best. Whitley Strieber. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break right here. And when I come back, I'll just flip on the phones, and we're going to go to open line, 747-228-2051. Thank you so much, Whitley. Have a great night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. This is Jimmy Church, and I invite you to attend the 20th Annual Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo live and in person this September 17th, 18th, and 19th at the LAX Airport Hilton. Connect with exhibitors, community, thought leaders, and friends as we begin to recreate the world. You can also watch the expo from the comfort of your own home. Live stream from the main stage in Los Angeles and from the main stage in London. Truly a global simulcast event broadcast around the world. Live stream and in-person expo tickets are available now. I'll be your host all weekend long from Los Angeles. And on Friday, it's my Ancient Secrets and Earth Mysteries themed segment with James Keenan, Caroline Corey, and William Henry. And on Saturday, Daniel Sheen and I sit down for a one-on-one interview live. We have an amazing lineup of 25 speakers, including Bashar, Gail Thackeray, Kimberly Meredith, Whitley Strieber, Stephen Bassett, Daniel Brinkley, and Lisa Garr. Please visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com for tickets and info. That's ConsciousLifeExpo.com and use that promo code Jimmy for a special discount. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B Blend for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. I want to thank Whitley Strieber. That was an incredible conversation. Absolutely incredible. I don't know. I want to thank Whitley. And a couple of things. Yes, makingcontact.com. Head straight over and check everything out. Again, it's Whitley, it's Christopher Mellon, Linda Moulton Howe, of course, Mark Sims, Danny Sheehan, Lou Elizondo, and Eric Weinstein, and myself. And this is going to be an incredible conference. And it is, again, it's in a virtual environment. Now, you're going to see everybody live on the big screens in this auditorium. I don't know how to explain the detail, the level of detail in this virtual world. It's insane. It is so cool. And so this auditorium, it's just like what you're thinking, right? There's limited seating, all of that. You go in and you sit down, and you are able to do other things, but that's what you're going to do. And there's a nightclub. I found that, and they took me through there. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And it's just this ginormous virtual environment, and it is very fun and very cool to check out. So I need you to go over to makingcontact.com. And yes, use the promo code JimmySave100. JimmySave100. You're going to get $100 off. Right, so it's $249. You're going to get your tickets for $149, $100 off. Jimmy Save 100. Go over to makingcontact.com, and then right after that, coming up this September, the commercials are now running here on Fade to Black. It's the Conscious Life Expo, and now this is the Conscious Life Expo times 2 in that. We've got the live event. This is in person here in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton, where we have the Conscious Life Expo every year, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. And but it's also at the Hilton in London. Okay, so there's 2 Conscious Life Expos going on, not at the same time. We're going to run our event here, and as soon as we wrap here, hand it over to London where it continues. So if you are going to stream the event, you're going to get, 16, maybe 20 hours of streaming back to back. And then we're going to turn around and start again live on Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to be the host. I'll be with you all weekend. There is the Ancient Secrets themed portion of the show that I will be hosting as well. And then that's on Friday night. And on Saturday night, I am going to sit down with Danny Sheehan in the big La Jolla room, live on stage, and the two of us are just going to sit and talk, a live interview with Danny Sheehan. And you're not going to want to miss any of this. This is a live in-person event. And for those that can't travel or that are still under some restrictions around the country, totally understand that, stream it. And you will be streaming, and you'll be able to go into theme sections of the stream too as well. And I'm very excited about this. If you go back to the Conscious Life Expo that we did last year in the middle of the pandemic, you know how excellent of a presentation that was in that streaming format. And we are going to do the same thing, same company, everything excellent, the streaming quality, and the ability to go and do other things are all there. So just visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com. And when you go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com, you'll see the LA event, you will see the London event, and you can check out the speakers and go through everything right there and get all of the information and what you want to do. ConsciousLifeExpo.com. So you get Whitley times 2, Whitley and Jimmy times 2 this year. Making Contact, and then the Conscious Life Expo. I've got a lot of events, everybody, that I'm going to be doing all the way through 2022. There's a few things that are coming up. We have these 2 events. We have the UFO MegaCon, which is at the front part of 2022, Conscious Life Expo. And also my trip to Egypt, the Emerald Tablets tour with Billy Carson and Johnny Enoch, and that's I cannot even believe what is going on for the next 6 months. It's going to be a great ride with everybody. Okay, with that, I've opened up the phone line 747-228-2051. Got enough time to get a few calls in. If you're on hold, stay right there. I want to go back and revisit a couple of points that Whitley made, and I'm with him on this. That we don't know how honest the government is being with us right now, and that includes the Department of Defense. Right? We don't know. But we should be appreciative that it is happening in any way. And I'm with Whitley on that. I'm absolutely with him. It's never been like this before. But just like Ronald Reagan, he said, trust but verify, right? Trust and verify. So verify and trust, right? That's where I am with this right now. I am shocked and dismayed about the sudden drop-off of the mainstream media covering the UFO subject after June 25th. I don't know what the reasons for this are. Somebody has flipped a switch somewhere. I don't know who has done it and what the reasons for that are, but it certainly seems to me, and it feels to me, that somebody has decided to stop. And I don't know what the reasons are. I don't. Right? I mean, Tucker, CNN, Fox, right? BBC. Everything is just, the brakes have been pushed. What's the reason for that? We've had 3.5, 4 years of coverage. Everything has stopped. The leaks have stopped, right? Everything. It's just like this focus has been turned away from the Department of Defense. We can't, as a community right now, allow this to happen. We've got to keep the pressure up. And you remember what Coulthard said on this show, Ross, when he said, you know what? Call your Congress people. Call the senators. Call your politicians. And let them know this is something that we need information on. We need hearings. We need witnesses. We need answers. And if we go complacent, like if we back off and we're okay with this, they win. And I'm not sure why. I don't know. I really don't. But something has happened. Something has happened. And I know you feel it too. It's like gone. Right? Gone. Where's the New York Times now? Popular Mechanics is, does an article once. Is that good enough? Right? What has happened? With that, let's go to the phones. Let's see who's up. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello, Jimmy. This is Corey. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Corey. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Baltimore. You probably see a Las Vegas number there, and that's from when I was in the service.
Okay. You were in the
like to keep.
Where at in Las Vegas? Area 51? I'm just kidding.
Oh gosh. I wish. But I served at Creech Air Force Base.
Oh, you're at Creech. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of action there. There's some action at Creech. So what's on your mind tonight, Corey?
Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you for asking Mr. Strieber the Randolph question. And I want to thank.
Was that you that posted that?
That was.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
And also thanks for, following that feed. And I especially want to thank Mr. Strieber, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for going down, that unfortunate rabbit hole in addressing it. And that's all that I have.
Well, the that Randolph, I didn't know. Now, I did know about the military training facilities around the world. I was born at one. I was born at Great Lakes Naval Station, which is the main training center for the United States Navy. I was down in Panama, which has the School of the Americas. And of course, Randolph, which is basically a college campus, right? That's what it is. It's a college campus for the Air Force. I think the Marines did some Air Corps training there too as well. But so I knew that about Randolph, but I didn't know about Whitley's story with Randolph, and that took me by surprise. That's a very, very interesting, I almost want to say, case with Whitley. But wow.
I have to give Peter Lavinda and his Sinister Forces book series credit for that.
You know what? I have those. You know what? I've read those. I have them all. And I'm going to have to go back and reread now. I did not. Oh, man. No, I didn't know. Which one?
That was book 3.
Book 3. Okay. I have them all. So when you were in the Air Force.
I was. Yeah.
Okay.
I joined the Air Force. I was enlisted. I was a staff sergeant and didn't do anything, crazy. I did have a, top secret clearance, but, nothing related to UFOs or exotic tech. Just a regular guy. But I did find it ironic that I was always obsessed with this phenomena. And then when I did join the Air Force, I found my way out there in the desert. I just thought that was interesting.
Did you ever see anything that made you think?
Well, I guess I can share this. There was an unacknowledged drone that I did see on my way to work one day, clear over the highway. It also was the same drone that another foreign country that I won't mention happened to claim that they captured.
Are you
at that time when
you're talking about Iran? That was Iran, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And at the time that I saw the drone, it was unacknowledged, and I went. I didn't know what it was. It looked like a mini B-2 bomber.
Yes. It's really funny when, not to spend any time on this, but when Iran then showed pictures of their backwards engineered version of the drone, and you could just tell, hey, that wasn't the same thing. I doubt that thing ever flew. But okay, so but what about conversations about UFOs or UAPs while in the Air Force? Was there any training? Did you were you told what to do if you saw anything? Was there anything about that in your training?
I'll be honest, that's something that I actually look for, and I thought in the back of my mind, but absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was, there was one time in my career where it was an F-16 pilot, and he flew F-117s, and I knew this, but he flew them when they were out of Tonopah, I believe, when they were dark.
Okay.
And I asked him the question, I asked him the question about, so he would have flown maybe in the early 80s or mid 80s. I asked him the question about Roswell. And I thought it was peculiar how quick he was to tell me that they already told us what it was. And
what does that mean?
And well, he was an officer, and I was an A1C airman, so I didn't follow up. But it was so quick that I hesitated to ask him, "Did you believe that?" And I didn't ask the question. So that was the only time that, just in my career, that was probably, as close as I got. And then after that, I learned that I probably shouldn't ask those questions.
Yeah. Corey, thank you for the phone call, my friend. And yeah, Randolph is interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey. Hey, thank you both. Big fan.
Yeah,
Thank
right
you so
on,
much.
Corey. I really appreciate it. And asking an officer about Roswell and getting that kind of answer, they already told us what it was. What does that even mean? Yeah. I want to. Well, I would love to go out to Area 51, but there is so much right here in Southern California that is going on, and I'm talking about Skunk Works and Lockheed and Raytheon and Edwards Air Force Base and China Lake, that they have to be, of course we have Area 51, but they have to be testing aircraft right now. Stuff that is going on, and that's in development. It has to be happening, and they have to build these aircraft somewhere. And I would bet a dime to a dollar all of that is going on right here in Southern California, out there in the desert, just a few miles away. And I don't know how to. I was watching Huell Hauser. Was talking about Huell. If you're on hold, stay right there. I promise I'll get to you. I was watching Huell Hauser, and I posted some stuff. And there was an episode of Huell trying to get to the B-2 bomber. He wanted to see it and wanted to touch it. And I thought, man, how do you pull that off? Well, he did. And you should go and watch how Huell got into Lockheed and ended up going from Lockheed to where the manufacturing was done in Palmdale, up to Edwards Air Force Base, and they let him on, and he got to check out. He went into the cockpit of a B-2. Now, if Huell can do it, I can do it. But the question is, what is it that they are building and working on now? And I'm just wondering, would they let Jimmy Church do that? Well, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. Just stay tuned. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello?
Yeah, you're live. Yes.
Oh, what's up? Yeah, what's up? This is John. I'm in the San Diego area. Thanks for all you do, bro. Thanks for everything you've done with the subject and the phenomenon and all that, bringing light to it. Just want to say that first.
All right. Right on. Thank you.
So, oh, man. What I got to say kind of came up today, actually. But just a little bit of background on me, kind of introduced to the whole subject, right around that 2017 mark when a lot of people were with the New York Times, and had about 4 or 5 sightings in the Southern California area myself, including doing a CE5 and an orb-like object coming right down to me within a foot of me, actually reaching out to this object, right? And there was something intelligent about it. I don't know if you talked to a lot of people with the orb phenomena.
I have.
But, blue orb and it.
Yep.
Sweet. I mean, it's something. This thing comes within a foot of me. I kind of reach out to it. It decides it doesn't want to be touched by me, and then it just, like a bullet, like snap your fingers, gone.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, I've only got about 3 minutes, John. So what's on your mind?
So basically, you know where all this stuff goes with the phenomenal topics, the near-death experience, the out-of-body experience, the aliens, and all these other topics, right? So today, trying to piece all this together, kind of like what Grant Cameron says, that so this has something to do with death. I come across this theory today. Have you ever heard about this theory about the it's the soul trap thing. Basically, people talk about when they die, they meet these entities that seem aliens, and they tell them, they kind of instruct them what to do in this near-death experience to get back to the other side. Basically, the soul trap theory is that these entities, these aliens, are telling us the wrong thing to do by telling us to go into this light, into these tunnels. That is what reincarnation is. And we reincarnate back onto this earth, onto the human body, but that's actually not what we're supposed to do. It's aliens stealing our soul energies, basically. Something to that nature. Ever heard something like this? Ever talked about anyone?
Yeah, yep. And I've had many conversations about this.
What's your overall view about it?
Well, see, this is the deal, John. I haven't, from my own experience, have I had an out-of-body experience? Have I had a near-death experience that would be similar to that? No. My experience with all of that, I didn't have the bright light. I didn't have the tunnels. I'm not even sure if I died. So therefore, and I'm talking about when I was 20 years old and in the hospital, it's the closest thing I have to it. But Linda Moulton Howe has written about this, and others have talked about it. Certainly Grant Cameron and many others. Now, is this a possibility? If we go back to, we just had Whitley on the show, and I've only got about 60 seconds left. Whitley, not only in Communion, but in his other books, where he talks about the visitors and the little blue guys that were coming in, that was, maybe, he's not for sure, but may not have been E.T., that is the next version of us. That is what we may appear to be after we die. And I always found that interesting. And Whitley and Linda spent a lot of time with me a couple of weeks ago talking about the canisters. I believe that's the word that was used. These like a vase, a canister, where your soul would reside in, and which is the opposite of what you're talking about right now. And so is there a misdirection happening with all of this? I find it fascinating. And I don't think we're ever going to get the answers until we do cross over. But I've always been fascinated with it, John. And with that, you're the last caller of the night. I want to thank you for the phone call, and we will see you tomorrow night right here with Mark Sims. Have a great night, and thank you for the phone call. And with that, I've got to get out of here. I've got to run credits and get ready for tomorrow's show. And again, I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night is Mark Sims. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Mark Sims, right here. I'm going to be talking about social media and UFOs. It's going to be a great night. I want everybody to go and visit makingcontact.com and consciouslifeexpo.com. Two big conferences coming up. I'll be at both of them with Whitley Strieber. Until tomorrow night with Mark Sims, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.